As an eating psychology coach, emotional eating is one of the most common eating problems my clients face. They've usually tried a bunch of methods to overcome it, and none of them worked. So in this video, I'm going to explain why popular methods of overcoming emotional eating don't work for the majority of people, and how to actually break free from emotional eating for good. I'm Lori Montre, trauma-informed eating psychology coach. Rather than helping you harness your willpower and white-knuckle your way through urges and triggers, which never works in the long run anyway, it's my mission to help you get to the underlying reason for your perceived need for food and overcome it at the source. In doing so, you can gain real freedom, which means not thinking about food unless you're truly hungry. Now, when someone asks me, why can't I stop emotional or binge eating? I tell them it's very simple, really. You have needs, and the food is currently meeting those needs. Until you find something that meets your needs better, you're going to continue to use food. It may be hard for you, like it was for me, to imagine that your behavior with food has a good reason. Most people tell me, oh, it can't be that. I just have no willpower, or I just really love food too much. But I invite you to set aside those ideas for just a moment and hear me again. You have needs, and the food is currently meeting those needs. Until you find something that meets your needs better, you're going to continue using the food. Once you can at least open to the possibility that this is true, you can start to get very curious about what your needs really are. When you emotionally eat or binge eat, what are you wanting the food to do for you? Let's take Cheryl, for example. Cheryl came to me to figure out why she had no discipline, why she never seemed to get enough done, why she couldn't get herself to bed on time, and why she couldn't keep her hands off the gummy bears in her drawer. Cheryl, like so many others, woke up every morning with a list of things to do longer than her arm. She had to get the kids off to school, get herself to work, please the boss, pick up the kids, feed them dinner, take care of the house, tend to her husband, manage the household, and the other 55 things that she did on a regular basis. She almost never did things for herself. And even when she did, it often left her feeling further behind instead of recharged. Most of the time, she really didn't know what she wanted to do for herself anyway. And Cheryl had an inner critic, right? Which most of us do. And this was really the voice of her uber disciplined parents. And her inner critic told her she shouldn't take time for herself unless everyone else was happy and all the chores on her list were done. Even though it wasn't humanly possible to get everything done on a regular basis, this same inner critic made Cheryl believe that her value was tied to the things she did and accomplished in life. During the day at work, Cheryl kept a bag of gummy bears in her desk drawer, and it was a rare day indeed when she didn't rely on those little guys to get her through the day. But the even bigger habit that she wanted to change was her habit of snacking on salty, crunchy treats after dinner while scrolling on her phone or watching TV. She knew this was one of the biggest contributing factors to the extra 50 pounds she wanted off of her petite frame, and it was causing her to stay up late at night and not sleep well, right? Which made her tired and unmotivated the next day. She felt shameful and frustrated every night when she went to bed, and boy, can I relate to that. Promising herself that she would do better the next day. She shared with me that the phrase she told herself every night when she got into bed, tomorrow's a new day. But as soon as her feet hit the floor the next morning, she was thinking about the gummy bears in her drawer and the chips in her pantry again. When I asked Cheryl what she did for fun, for self-expression, for relaxation, for rejuvenation, she looked at me like I had three heads. Those needs, and they are needs, were so completely off the table for Cheryl. She hadn't even thought about fun, self-expression, relaxation, or rejuvenation as needs. Well, she said, I like my job, my kids are great, I'm lucky to have a pretty good relationship with my husband. And what I told her was this: these things are wonderful, but your needs extend far beyond having a job, kids, and husband. You're a woman with a beautiful soul that needs to be fed, a soul that longs for deep fulfillment and meaning. Tears welled up in her eyes. She'd forgotten that she was a human being instead of a human doing. But almost immediately, her resistance came rushing in. There There isn't time for me to feed my soul. My life is complicated. People depend on me. I can't just ignore my obligations. There was that inner critic telling her she wasn't a priority in her own life. So I assured Cheryl we didn't need to figure out everything in this moment. For now, she could just start to open to the possibility that food was meeting some needs that she didn't quite know how to meet in any other way right now. Over time, we did discover the underlying needs Cheryl was trying to meet with food. She learned how to work with her nervous system so she didn't feel stressed and overwhelmed all the time. She learned to feel safe with her emotional world so she didn't have to eat to avoid emotions. She learned how to silence the voice of the inner critic so she no longer had to be responsible for everything and everyone to such a high degree. She also learned how to work with her habituated brain so she could try on other ways of meeting her needs. No time at all, Cheryl stopped turning to food to get through her days. I remember the email she sent me after we'd been working together for a few months to tell me that she had reached into her desk drawer to get her stapler and she discovered the gummy bears that had been in there so long they had gotten rock hard. Her evenings became filled with connection with her family as well as time for herself regularly. Even though she had been an emotional eater her whole life, she no longer thought about food unless she was hungry. She didn't need to use her willpower to eat right and avoid snacking. She simply didn't think about extra food. In my Freedom from Emotional Eating course, I help people discover why they're turning to food to meet their needs. But the three main keys you need to learn are the following. Number one, how to work with your habituated brain. Number two, learning how to work with your nervous system to shift out of stress and overwhelm. And number three, learning to feel and process your emotions so that you no longer turn to food to help you cope, avoid, or distract from difficult feelings. These keys help you see the underlying needs that you're asking food to meet for you. And with these keys, you can end emotional eating for good. I have created a free series that explores each of these keys in more depth, and you can sign up to receive this resource in the link provided in the video description. If you're serious about ending emotional eating, sign up for these resources today and start understanding more about what your true needs are. So thank you for spending time with me. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. This is going to help me get more content in your hands and in the hands of others who need emotional and binge eating support.